They should do a version of the Outlander theme that is just open, 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 open. No, it'd be like pour, 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 pour.
I love you guys so much. I think everybody can already tell we're hammered.
It was a really good episode. That's what happens.
If you didn't watch that live stream with us, as I pull from this cheese board, it took us. How long did it take us to watch an hour episode?
2 hours.
At least 2 hours.
That was so fucking intense.
So also, Allison did that thing where she made a cocktail that we all thought was like nothing.
I gotta admit, I didn't think they were that strong.
Well,
it turns out I was wrong.
maybe. Surely I didn't eat enough food. That's
Don't call
the
me
story of my
Shirley.
life.
All right, I already. This is that was like the pre-bit because now this is the actual bit.
All right.
I'm asking you this question sincerely.
Yeah.
This bit will only work if you answer sincerely. All right.
I can only be sincere now.
Okay.
Tell me either what you were most grateful for in 2018 or most hopeful for in 2019. Sincerely.
I'm most grateful that we didn't die in a nuclear fire in 2018.
Sincerely.
Wait, I thought it was grateful for 2019. What was the question again?
Most grateful for in 2018 or most hopeful for in 2019 or both.
I'm most hopeful that Donald Trump dies of a heart attack in 2019.
Sincerely, 2018 was hard, so I'm grateful that I made it. And 2019, I'm hopeful for
Making it.
making it.
2018, I am also most grateful for making it.
Yeah.
2019, I'm most hopeful for being a positive force in the world and trying to using my extremely meager position as a very teeny tiny public figure to put some fucking positive energy in the world is the thing that I would really like to do. I just want to convince people to watch Paddington 2. I tried. It's not
HBO.
on Netflix. HBO. God, and you have HBO.
I know.
Through me.
But it's a lie. It's all a lie. I'm going to watch it, though.
It's on HBO. But I just want, to put positivity into the world. And one of the things I'm grateful for is the two of you and the community that we've built around us, the wonderful people who are so supportive of us, and the thing that always gets me when they're so I'm getting a little teary, when they're so supportive of each other.
Yeah.
Yes. It's wonderful. It makes me so happy. It makes me feel like what we wanted to do was sit around and get drunk and talk about Outlander. We inadvertently created a community of like-minded people who support each other in difficult times, and that is magical and wonderful.
You know,
That's good.
I have a very clear memory of the first time we sat around that dinner table I had in my giant ass living room in my big mansion apartment.
Did you just say giant ass?
And it was a glass table in which we all sat around. And before we pressed the record button on season 2, episode 1, Allison said, "Guys, I got a great idea here. I'm going to fuck this up. It's going to be so good. We're going to create. People are so interested in this. I can't wait to talk about this. It's going to be so much fucking fun." And here we are. Nearly 3 years later.
I can't believe it.
I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for you. I pointed at the microphone.
She pointed at all of us.
It makes me hopeful about the world that people found a really unconventional way to support and love each other.
Yes.
Right? Isn't that wonderful?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I have one more thing to say.
Yeah.
We died in a fire.
It's ridiculous.
Why did they do that? It was a long setup, but the payoff was worth it, was it not?
Why did they do that?
Welcome to Podlander Drumcast, an Outlander podcast. I'm Allison.
I'm Julie.
That's Janine.
Hey.
We are here talking about season 4, episode 9, the birds and the bees and the bunnies and the
trees
No
and
bird box. No bird
and
box.
the whiskey and the drinking and
I think that everyone who's listening and who knows us can already tell that we are at a certain level.
So, hey, this is not a 2-episode day, by the way.
Oh, it's a
know.
1.5 episode.
One and a
It's
half
kind of
episode.
1.5
You're
because we
right.
have to talk about the end of the last episode. BT dubs, if you listen to the last episode where we tried to record from 3 different areas, I want y'all to know, I do believe it was literally my fault that I wasn't closer to my router because it's like the B. Arthur of routers and it doesn't want to work sometimes.
We're going to make it work in the
It's
future.
my wine break.
If you ever listen to Debating Doctor Who, which is the Doctor Who podcast I'm on, that is recorded through Cast, which is the service that we were using.
It worked for a while.
Oh, that was a good crunch.
Nice ASMR crunch. You know who likes ASMR? Cardi B. I learned this because of carpool karaoke.
She likes it.
I'm just
That was a Cardi B joke.
I'm too old for Cardi B jokes. I can only tell Cardi B facts.
Yeah, I think that it was a beautiful mistake.
It was
Like
as
our great Lost episode. We have
Yes,
one
oh my God.
truly
Oh my God,
lost
that's
episode.
such-
apocryphal. Apocryphal indeed. The true drunk cast, drunk dial lost episode.
That we have
I
no-
am so sorry. We don't know where it went.
Well, it disappeared. It was a computer malfunction and it disappeared. But we called Alana and we called Jen Lander Drunklin. And then we dropped the call with Jen Lander Drunklin and tried to call her back, but inadvertently called Alana.
And we thought they were the same person.
And it was
God,
very
it was
funny.
so
and it
good.
was
It
ridiculous.
was magical and it's lost to the ages.
We're so sorry that you don't get to hear it.
But we love you guys. You're the best. So yeah, we're gonna, because of that episode, we will at some point we're gonna have to do Cast again because Janine here has to travel for work all the fucking time, and now I travel for work twice a year, and we're just gonna have to do it. But next time we will make it
Julie
work.
will be closer to her
I'm just thinking
router.
about how important we've all become in the past 3 years.
Like what? That's true though. That's fucking true though.
That's
because
crazy.
if we didn't put it on an episode, all these bitches be on our job. They'd be so like,
Wait.
I got nothing to ride on the train with.
Is on our jock a thing?
I just heard
just
on my
made that
jock. No, man, on my jock has been forever.
I never
Like
heard that
she's on my jock. She's in my face. In my face.
Wait,
it
in your
sounds like
face?
on your dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but kind of that's in my face.
I like this
taking
term.
up space.
Your dick is a face.
Just saying. BDE.
Sometimes.
Guys, I won $460 on a Jurassic Park slot machine. That was wild.
And that was worth us failing on the cast. Yes.
I need you to know, I was not exaggerating. I was sitting at a hotel desk wearing my Rihanna dressing gown, eating, I'll admit, lackluster room service breakfast, but
Bummer.
also a reasonably priced room service breakfast.
Understood.
Drinking my Baileys and coffee with a roller coaster in the background. It was very glam.
But you and Aaron were fine. It was me. It was because I was in this room, which is too far away from my router. It's like 2 walls away from my router. Like I said, once again, she's on her wine break. She just can't.
You know what
she
I forgot
can't.
to do?
What? Start the timer?
Yep. And
That's fine. This
we
is
gonna
should
say
just
5
freebie
minutes.
reminding ourselves that there was no timer going on, and here we are.
All right, great.
Julie, I want to know what it was like for you when you listened to it and you heard Janine and I just bantering while we were waiting for you to come back.
I realized that you guys couldn't hear me because I was making some fucking sick fire jokes and nothing was happening.
Did they get recorded?
No, because I wasn't part, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I could see the little like volume lines of where you guys were talking, which I know you took advantage of because I listened to it later and that shit made me laugh so hard. So I was just like, I'm just gonna wait until the volume lines quit moving, and then I'm gonna say, here's where I'm going from here.
And then I would type Julie go. And then
Yeah,
and then there'd
exactly.
be like beat.
Okay, so well, one time I forgot I was on mute. So I talked for like 15 seconds. And then there was a, hey, like you like did something on your avatar that said, hey. Yeah. And I went, ah, shit. And then I had to go back and be like, oh, this is all the bon mots you bitches missed. And then I went on.
All right. It was
So
a good episode.
All we have to talk about from episode 8, Wilmington, is the final scene.
Well, we skipped a lot, but maybe we'll do a bonus episode where we just do this episode properly. But I do want to talk about the final scene before we talk about this episode.
When I was watching it, I had predicted that, and this was, I addressed this in our weird ass circus episode. That's what I'm going to call it from here on out.
Circus.
I know that's
really
not where
good.
you stayed, but I'm going to call it circus.
Great. Perfect.
So the circus episode, I know that I addressed slightly the fact that I had predicted that Brianna would be raped by Stephen Bonnet.
I did also warn you that there was more gross rape coming.
I kept
But I
ignoring
knew it
that.
was going to be him.
I kept ignoring that
I knew
fact
it was gonna
that
be
would
him.
be a thing, yeah.
No, and then after that, I was like, wait, Lizzie's going to think it was Roger. She's pregnant. Is it Stephen Bonnet's baby? That's coming up. Anyway, Patty. So let's return to the tavern or the boarding house, however you like to call it.
Well, pubs were boarding houses, yeah.
I thought I have to actually give these assholes credit because a lot of times I think that romance novelists, or I'm going to say sci-fi too, sci-fi novelists, treat rape as a titillation or as something that you're not supposed to like, but you're still reading it and you kind of like it, and that's fucking gross. Yeah. Fucking Game of Thrones. Read any book ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Diana Gabaldon had written a very graphic rape scene here in the book. And the showrunners decided, nah, we're going to take a different tack. And I think that their tack was incredibly effective. I did read a Vanity Fair piece where Sophie Skelton was sad that we don't get to see what Brianna goes through. But here's the thing, Sophie. We all know what happened to you. We don't need to see it played out frame by frame as some kind of torture porn. I'm over it. What I did like was that there were men at the table when their camera was on them that were either into it or kind of not into it. There were men who were like uncomfortable weirdly about it.
Hold on a second.
Let me walk you through this.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen the episode.
So-
Right.
You're describing that there were people in that room?
Yeah, they were
Taverns.
gamblers in the tavern who could hear her being raped.
Fucking raped her in a way that everyone else was aware that she
Yes.
was being raped?
Totally aware.
But they didn't put the video on the rape. They put it on the people listening to the
tavern.
rape.
So, I mean, you saw her go into the room and you knew it was going to be bad, and you saw like the beginning of it, right? So it was very clear what was happening.
You saw what you saw today where he like slapped her down and like you knew he was going to do
I
it.
saw
Yeah.
those images, yeah.
But that
Yeah.
was it. After
And
that,
then it
all
cuts
you
to the
saw
tavern
was
and you just see people reacting. And it's mostly men being amused or ambivalent.
Holy fuck.
Or like irritated. And a couple who are uncomfortable.
Holy fuck.
yeah, but a couple of dudes who are like not into it, like weirdly,
But who
like
still don't do anything.
they're not doing
Holy
anything.
fuck.
And then a guy, and this is like a very creepy image. Her boots get chucked out of the door,
Yeah.
and he picks them up and he sets them next to the door. Because it's just a part of it's just like the service of the hotel.
I would like you to know that one of our psych listeners, R. Sullivan Luthier, was like,
Fuck.
what about the zippers facing out?
I know.
Okay, clever.
Her boots had zippers on them. So the boots are there now. People have seen a zipper, but nobody freaks out about it? Is it just like,
Well,
what?
not looking.
Whatever.
Well, because they're too busy
probably-
looking the other way so they can feel decent about their lives.
I
Right.
think-
Right? They're turning away and thus ignoring time travel as a reality.
I don't think that is. I think that is such an accurate description that it's not a joke. That's completely true. They were completely not looking that direction anymore.
Yep.
But if you saw a zipper for the first time, wouldn't you be like, how does this work?
I don't know.
Except for they didn't look at the boots because they were averting their eyes.
Yeah.
And being complicit.
It's
Gross.
fucking horrible. Yeah, that's
So
fucking horrible.
I would say mustache rating 2 out of 10 mustaches.
Well, and that was a
Because
female director, too.
That's what
gonna
I'm
pull
saying.
up her name right now.
Low mustache rating, which
What?
is great. In our minds, that's good. Low mustache is good.
And I will say this week's episode, I would say, is excellent, even though the mustache rating is kind of high. Mm-hmm. Great in spite of. Mm-hmm. In spite of.
Who it's what book?
Jennifer Getzinger. Getzinger.
Jennifer Getzinger.
Well, thank you, Jennifer.
That shot of that person setting the boots by the door is going to fucking haunt me. Also,
You know what's gonna haunt me?
A script supervisor on 18 episodes of Mad Men. That does not surprise me. That is smart shit. She's done a lot of script supervising. The Comeback, Sex and the City, Strangers with Candy, I Want This Woman to Be My Friend.
Yes.
Director, Outlander, an episode of Daredevil, some episodes of Counterpart.
What episode of Daredevil?
No Good Deed. It's from the current season. Also, an episode of Jessica Jones from this most recent season.
That's
I
a
Want
good
Your
episode.
Cray Cray, which is the episode where you see Patsy's backstory. Did you watch this season of Jessica Jones?
Patsy's-
I completely did, and I can't. Awesome.
Patsy is the blonde, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's the.
It's
she's,
a good
She's the
episode.
best friend. Who's
Yeah.
like
How to Get Away with Murder. 2 episodes of Agent Carter. Fuck you for not watching Agent Carter.
Not you,
Your
director.
fault.
You
Oh,
fucking
here
were
we
great.
go. Director of 10 episodes of Mad Men, including
This is such a nice find.
Interesting.
The New Girl, which I think you might have seen, Julie. I think we might have gotten that
Was
far
that
in
the
our
first
watch.
Peggy episode?
No, that's the pilot is the first Peggy episode. No, this is
The new secretary, the one that doesn't work out.
yeah, the one who ends up married to Roger Sterling. Did we get that far?
Yeah.
Okay. Jane. Yeah. Also, The Gypsy and the Hobo, which is one of the greats.
I saw that one
And
too.
The Suitcase, which is arguably the best episode of Mad Men. She directed The Suitcase.
So what's this
It
woman's
is
name?
a fucking the fact that I didn't actually know her name is both that means I'm bad at my job. That's bad for me. But the fact that she isn't like a name TV director.
What's her name?
Jennifer Getzinger.
Jennifer Getzinger. All right, everybody,
'cause
learn that name. Jennifer Getzinger.
She's the director of this episode.
How do you? I got that. How do
Of
you?
this episode too, or of the last one?
No, Wilmington.
yeah,
this
the last
isn't
one.
Wilmington.
Sorry,
Check this episode.
Yeah.
The Birds and the Bees.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking
We were
about Wilmington.
talking. We
were,
were talking about
but
the
I wanna
end
know
of
about-
Wilmington.
Oh, got it.
So,
They often do 2-episode blocks.
how do you spell her name?
Get Zinger. Like,
Getzinger.
hold on. You need a sick burn. Let me get a zinger.
Get a zinger. You guys.
Get Zinger.
I don't know how we could tell you that easier.
gonna fall on the floor.
Please just go to IMDb and look up Jennifer Getzinger, and you're going to find great content directed by a woman.
It's fucking wonderful. David
job.
Moore directed this episode.
Well,
Okay.
that's
Whatever.
2 back-to-back great direction episodes. The Big C, The
Who's
Killing.
David Moore? Is he related to Ronald Moore?
Let's find out.
Orange is the New Black. She's got some good shit.
So David Moore has been a fixture here as well. Apparently, he's in an episode none of us has seen yet. He's already done a Deep Heart's Core in 2019 for Outlander, Heaven and Earth, and The Doldrums.
Oh, the Doldrums was the great Mr. Willoughby episode.
Yeah, well, isn't that also Doomface Pound?
Yes.
Oh, he also drunk. He also directed episodes of Jericho, which I really enjoy.
Good.
Do you guys not know that show?
No.
It's a post-apocalyptic show about.
That was so sloppy.
Let me try it one more time. It was a post-apocalyptic show about nuclear bombs being dropped on major urban centers.
What kind of bombs?
Nuclear.
What kind of bombs?
Nuclear.
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 There we go.
I come from the land of nuclear, so I hear you.
I come from the land.
I come from a land of
Nuclear.
and so it was. It's a show that was done after one season, and it akin to Firefly. People were upset that it ended one season.
All right.
After one season.
Oh,
Or
guys,
after, yeah.
Timeless ended.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's tough.
It's fine. It was fine. Anyway,
All right, so is that the end of our chat? One more thing about. It's not Willoughby. I've just got
this-
Pride and Prejudice on the mind.
Wilmington.
This
Thank
is
you.
demagnetized?
That one is.
Willoughby is Sense and Sensibility, by the way. Austin Byrne.
Willoughby? Are you sure that's not Pride and Prejudice?
Willoughby? Yes, it's Sense and Sensibility. So
Who's
Willoughby is the
who's
one
the
who
guy
has
in-
cum magna.
Who's the guy in who's the guy in Pride and Prejudice that's the asshole?
Oh, it's Oh my god.
Are you sure that's not Willoughby?
No, Willoughby is Marianne's non-fiance in Sense and Sensibility for sure.
Okay.
It's fucking Jesus Christ.
It starts with a W though.
Superstar?
No, this is I'm gonna have Alzheimer's and it's gonna be terrible.
He's the
It's
the asshole that belongs to the regiment, but he's
my dislike of you was solidified by your rough treatment of Mr.
Willoughby.
No, it's not Willoughby.
Wilbur? Wait.
I think it is.
Pull up Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah, got it. I'm on it right now. The show or the movie?
By the way, you guys, I would like you to know that we have not started talking about season 4, episode 9, The Birds and the Bees yet.
We
Mr.
are up to 20 minutes at a tops because I don't know we're out on that recording
Yeah,
anymore.
no, it's
'cause I
gonna
don't have
take a
job
while.
anymore. Mr.
It starts with a W.
You know what?
No, it's not Darcy.
Look up Death Comes to Pemberley.
Oh, okay. So we're not talking about the movie. We're talking about the
No, we're
This
still
is-
talking about the same character.
This is me finding a way for you
Death
to look it up
Coming to
without me
Pemberley.
looking it up. Death Comes to Pemberley.
Yep.
And then you're looking for the name Matthew Good.
Oh, okay.
Is the actor name?
Wickham.
Wickham! God damn it! Wickham. But it did start with a
They were
W.
going to be super American in this. Wickham.
Wickham. But you're right. Willoughby Sense and Sensibility is the asshole.
Shake hands with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the
Oh,
way,
that
you
was
guys,
my phone,
I
sorry.
don't know if you understand this, but Allison and I are both Jane Austen sort of nerds.
Sometime as an Anyway Patty, we'll do an episode where we talk about the time that we got Tom and Neil so stoned that we can, and we played. I have a board game that's, I don't even remember what it's called. Marry Mr. Darcy.
Marrying Mr. Darcy.
A card game, technically.
win is to go.
Well,
Just to go
no.
marry Mr. fucking Darcy.
No, the
No,
best
no.
way to win is to go full spinster.
Spencer, don't get married and just find your own way to money.
You
Actually-
can win without that's like I don't know, like a hat trick or something.
I gotta say that's also the way to win.
It's shooting the moon.
Is to Bandersnatch is to go full crazy to get to full 5 out of 5 stars. Deep cut. If anyone's watching that,
I am not going to watch that shit.
it's fucking creepy as shit.
I
You should
can't do
it.
Black
I
Mirror.
watched. I think I got to 90% of it.
90% of all of it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's my actual job.
Are you reviewing that? Though?
No, but I
Okay.
needed to watch it to be able to pitch on it, which I am.
Okay.
Which will be about how we don't. About how our need to.
Did my cat just throw up?
Nope, that was my computer giving me a Slack notification.
Okay, turn that
I
shit
muted
off.
it.
It makes me think of my cat throwing up.
She's behind you.
Oh my God, look at her. She's so cool.
About how our compulsion to finish things makes this like the perfect Netflix vehicle.
Oh.
Even though it's not particularly interesting most of the time.
Well, I don't like the meta-ness. I love the convention. I love the mechanics of it.
I do too.
But the meta-ness of it, I think undermines the convention. that
I
is
think
set up.
sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Regardless.
So this is Podlander Drunkcast and Outlander
Marrying
Podcast.
Mr. Darcy is good. We will do an Anyway Patty sometime about the time that we got Neil and Tom stoned enough that we convinced them to
They
watch.
watched the entire A&E series.
It took several days, and then afterwards they were like, didn't you say that there was a movie version of Sense and Sensibility? And then we watched that too.
And because they were sleeping on Jane Austen.
They were, and like
they didn't understand that Jane Austen was hilarious.
Halfway through the second episode, I remember this extremely vividly, even though I was also pretty high. Neil paused it, and he turned to Julie and I, and he said, "Is this supposed to be funny?" And we both said, "Yes." And he went, "Oh." And then they just enjoyed it because she's fucking hilarious. Dum. Okay, so anyway.
Oh my God, you guys. I'm sorry,
I think that's it
and you're
about
welcome.
Wilmington.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm okay with Wilmington.
I think it's good. We'll do another proper full Wilmington episode someday.
Nah,
We will.
I think we gotta let it go.
We're gonna have.
Let it go.
Let go. Hold on. I
Let
need
it
to
go.
hold my nose and gird my loins to say this out loud. We'll have time to cover Wilmington again because of. Hold on. Drylander. I'm sorry. Droughtlander.
Oh. I think we were making a joke. Yeah.
No, we'll have time.
Well, I guess we can.
But it's fine.
The only thing that I need to finish about it is her walk back up the stairs. I thought was beautifully filmed.
Fucking hard.
And also with some great acting by Sophie Skelton, which is going to be a trend that continues in this episode.
And
I agree
a
with
very
that.
happy trend.
She is so good.
Well,
Do you know
is
how
now.
I would like to start this portion of the episode?
Wait, you mean Outlander season 4, episode 9, The Birds and the Bees?
Welcome, everyone.
I want to do something a little weird.
Yeah.
I'd like to start by awarding the Golden Pamplemousse.
At the beginning, I already know who my nominee is.
Me too.
I would second both of your nominees.
You don't know who my nominee is? Back off, fucko.
Julie, go ahead.
Sam Hewen.
Sam Hewen.
Sam fucking Human.
I've never done it.
said Sam Human.
Whatever.
I'm drunk.
He was very human.
But he was human.
He was very human.
Because he was so goddamn good.
Okay.
If you were not on the fucking Slack, there was a question that I asked Allison at one point was like, is he a father? Because holy shit.
I don't think he is.
I
but
don't
guess
think
I don't
he
know.
is. I just think that maybe he's been acting for enough time in a very like rarefied environment around people who are really good.
It was without a doubt the best acting he's ever done on the show.
Truth.
And he has had a lot of, that sounds like Baby Tree, and it's not.
It is not Baby
He has
Tree.
had a lot of really great moments, and he's gotten steadily better. And I think in this season he has been consistently really good.
Yeah.
He has always had, I mean, he's never been bad. He's always had like fine moments, good moments, and then occasionally great moments. He's always been very good at playing Jamie, but the moments where he's like, wow, that's an exquisite piece of acting, you know, there were a couple in season 1, more in season 2, more in season 3.
I don't know about season 3.
Yeah, well, no, but Doom Hut.
Yeah, no, that was season 2, wasn't it?
Doom Hut is season 3.
The very beginning.
And the print shop is season 3. Like some of the great Sam moments.
But then season 3 is mostly boat.
Yes, but you're confusing your disinterest with season 3 with your analysis of his performance in season 3.
Truth.
He's very good. And then in this season, he also has been steadily, like consistently really good. But this was just knocked me on my ass.
I think the moment where he realized who Brianna was and accepted it was the best piece of acting that he has done in the entire series.
Oh, yeah. And one of the best pieces of acting on the show.
The second best that he has done was when he was in the Doom Hut.
Mm-hmm.
So
The print shop is really good, though, too.
print shop is good, but that's like
and fucking...
it's not. It doesn't feel as personal. It felt a little more part of what people expected, or part, you know.
Sure.
A part of what this literally was a person who took a breath and started tearing up. Like it was a perfect breath.
And it wasn't about the tears either.
No.
It was like
Realization.
he was trying to keep it together. but also not trying that hard because it didn't. Like I went through the whole journey.
Yes,
with them.
and he took us there in one breath.
Yeah.
And the only actor on this show, the only actor on this show who has done that for me thus far is Tobias Menzies.
Katrina.
Well, Katrina is good, but she's
faith,
not.
in faith. Yeah, I would argue Katrina too. Well, and also
All three of them are very good.
I have 6 words for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to a fucking barbecue. Right? Like, there have been other moments where somebody gets you there right away. Mm-hmm. What I will say is that this is, to me, without question, one of the best acted moments in the whole show.
Yes.
And easily his finest scene.
Yes.
And he has several excellent scenes in this episode.
Yes.
But that is
this was the best.
He was on his fucking game.
And
Every part of this was so
and he made
fucking
Sophie
good.
better. And Sophie was also great.
Sophie
She
did a
really
great job in
was.
this episode.
But
for everybody who has questions about what good acting is or like what makes something a good performance, I don't know what to tell you.
it can be hard to tell. Like, sincerely, it can sometimes be hard, especially if you're just sort of passive isn't the right word, but if you don't work in the arts at all,
Can I give it a shot?
Yeah.
it can be hard to differentiate. Yes, let me finish my thought.
Yeah.
Between good acting, good directing, and good writing. It can be hard to
Yes.
tell what's what.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a good actor gets a great scene and it seems like great acting, and really it's good acting and a great scene, and those are different things.
Absolutely.
Here's an
Alec
example.
Baldwin and David Mamet.
Yeah. Here's an example. Jennifer Hudson in the Dreamgirls movie,
Yes.
which incredible,
Great scene, but
great scene that she does
unbelievably
a
cast. Like
and she does like a perfect job with it, but it's not great acting. It's a great performance because she's incredibly well cast in a great scene. That doesn't mean that it's like mind-blowing acting. As opposed to this shit, which was just a guy playing a character that he has played for 4 years now and doing it incredibly
Understanding
well and not overselling it.
Right.
Understanding that like the most effective way to get somebody to feel is to hold back a little and let them fill in the blanks for you.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it was so good.
Which Tobias Menzies knows from
Yes.
the beginning.
And I think this was the kind of the apex of what the Jamie character offered for Sam, right? Like, this is the thing that he's been leading up to this entire time, where he started off with this person who wanted to have a family, right? Like, to some extent, and maybe not completely consciously, but knowing that he loved this person, and then eventually got to a point where he wanted this family, and then obviously that's a big pain point for end of season 2, season 3, and then just the fact that like I find it I feel like this is a little bit of like that combination of the wonderful writing with the wonderful acting, where like it just was written in such a way that it recognized the way Sam is going to connect with it, and Sam connected with it.
and
I'm
so
gonna-
did Sophie.
I'm gonna disagree.
Yeah, and Sophie fucking did so fucking good.
I'm
Holy
gonna
shit.
disagree.
No, okay.
No,
I'll
I'm
take
gonna
it.
say that it was written however it was written.
Sure.
I think that Sam Heughan took this moment beyond what was written.
That's fair.
I will say from the
I think it's fair.
from the books, it's my favorite scene in all of the books. Mm-hmm. And it's shorter than it is in the books, but it's because of what you know about the character is very powerful of both characters, because that chapter is from Brianna's perspective, not Jamie's perspective. So
Does she come up on a pen?
Yeah.
Yes.
In the book, she goes into a tavern and asks, because there's this whole subplot that they cut where Fergus is on trial because it's less dramatic than it sounds. Basically, there's like a corrupt deputy who hates Jamie and then hates everybody he's related to because he worked at Ardsmuir at the prison. And he comes on Marsley in like she's in her wagon or something and does some shit. And she attacks him back to keep her baby safe. And Fergus gets arrested because he says it was Fergus. And then Fergus obviously takes the blame, and they end up proving it's not him because he gets hit with his right hand, and Fergus's right hand is a
It's
hook.
a fucking whole
Whatever. It's
To
a whole
Kill a
thing.
Mockingbird situation.
Yes. But Brianna finds out that Jamie is there because of this trial. So she goes to this other town and walks into a tavern and says, do you know where I can find Jamie Fraser? Just a random tavern. And the guy says, yeah, he just stepped out the back to have a pee, basically. And so she just like loses her shit and walks out back there. And then the interaction is the same. He says like, I have a wife. And then he says, she says,
Which
well,
is
I'm
hilarious.
looking for you. And she says, no, I mean, I've got a wife at home and I'm not gonna, no, thank you. And like walks past, and then she stops him, and then he like stops and looks at her, and she says it, and then he recognizes it. It's a really
It was a
beautiful
great
It
moment.
was such a great moment.
the big difference, and we'll get there when we talk about my favorite moment of it, which is transplanted to another scene, is she says, after he's hugging her and they're both crying and like shaking and all of this shit, she says, I don't know what to call you. And he says, why don't you call me Da? And she says, what does that mean? Is that Gaelic? And is thinking like, well, she's not going to call him daddy, and she's not going to call him father because that's too formal. And she doesn't want to call him Jamie because that's weird. And he just looks at her, and because this is a man of incredible emotional intelligence, then he says, no, it's just simple. And then it is simple because he made it simple. And so it was just simple. It's wonderful. The Brianna Jamie relationship is one of my favorites.
They did so-
favorites
they-
in the whole book.
And this episode, I mean, for now being a regular watcher,
We did it! Cheers.
it was so good. It was really good.
So,
it was wonderful.
hold up, y'all, though.
Yeah.
We skipped a bit.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Well, yeah, because
Because we skipped right to the Golden Pamplemousse, which we all agree should be Sam Hewen this
Fuck
episode.
yeah, dude. Great, good job, Sam.
What we skipped, though, was my introduction to the fact that Sophie Skelton ain't fucking around.
Yeah, cheers. Because I don't want to undermine the Golden Pamplemousse going to Sam. I don't want that to seem like that's a baby tree for Sophie, because
It is not. You
She
know what?
fucking
Good
destroyed
job.
it.
Good
She was
job.
so good.
I've got no liquid, but here we are.
And you know what? She's going to be fine moving on.
She was so good.
So
this
the
entire
opening of
time.
the
You know,
episode.
you know what else was good, real quick?
Yeah.
Her accent.
Yeah.
Didn't
It's
think
better.
about it once.
Well, because she's.
I did.
Well, she's. I'm going to say she's had 2 episodes to kind of settle into it. It wasn't as bad this time as it was at the beginning
Listen,
of the season.
even when I was thinking about it, it was not a major thought. but I
Here's
thought
what
about
British
it.
people are thinking through time.
Yeah, that's true.
is what I'm
Because
saying.
she was killing it in so many other ways.
It's fine.
It's not.
It's
a
fine.
thing.
I wish maybe that they would have found an American woman to do it, but whatever. She
No,
has.
Sophie's-
She's won me
Sophie's
over. She
fucking
has won me
destroying
over.
it.
She's
Yeah.
won me over.
She's so good.
So the episode opens with a flower and a bee fucking it. And we know it's the birds and the bees. And then we know that it's the
pure
same
mustache.
night that fucking Brianna got raped by Stone Cold Stephen Bonnet, and she goes up to her room, and Lizzie's like, oh no. And Sophie's like, don't look at me, go to sleep.
It's a very good scene.
And she's covered in blood, and it's terrible.
Well,
and
and the
Lizzie
way-
is very sad about
It's like it's like first you see it on her face, and then you see it on her petticoat, and then
that
then there are these
petticoat
marks
moment.
on her back.
That
Yeah,
petticoat
and then her
moment was
lower
so
back
fucking
and-
horrible.
And she's just like, go to bed. And Lizzie's like, fine. And turns over and is real sad about it. But then Sophie's just trying to wash it off of her, which is weirdly instinctual, I guess.
Yeah.
Just like a thing to like get it off your body.
And she's obviously in shock too.
And just shaking. And Sophie Skelton was really good in
Very
this
good.
scene. And then we go to the next morning and Roger.
No, we're skipping a real important bit.
Yeah.
So after Brianna has washed herself off, she gets into bed, and Lizzie says, you have my hand, it's right here, and my ear if you need it. And then Brianna says, go to bed, Lizzie. But it's like, that's when you go through something traumatic, that's what you want your friends to do. You want your friends to say, I'm here, here are the ways in which I'm here.
That's right. The note I have for this is, Lizzie, you good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Caitlin Orion, I think her name is. I'm on board with her as Lizzie.
The next morning, Roger shows up at the boarding house. Stone Cold's eating breakfast, and Roger's like,
Uh-ohs.
have you seen this lass? And Stone Cold's like, bitch, you're on my boat.
It's funny. I think you're supposed to be at work right
I'm
now.
sorry, we're about to leave for Philadelphia. And Roger's like, I asked for passage to Wellington. Ew! And Stephen Bonnet is like, no. What I told you was that was a stop on our route. And you are coming to Philly, bitch. And then everybody intimidates him, and he knows, I got to go to Philly.
Yeah. So he says,
Hey,
tell the nice
barman,
lady I was here.
Tell the nice lady I was here.
He doesn't leave a note. He doesn't say, tell the nice lady I was forced to sail to Philadelphia, but I'll be back.
He didn't say, I'm just going to Philly and I'll be home soon.
I will say this is all adaptation, and it's actually really smart, because in the books, what happens is they fuck in the barn, and then they get in this big fight. And
Oh, God, why do people fight?
I don't know. I'm single for life.
not true, man. And then Roger's like, I'm going to go and find some gemstones. We are in a fight, but I am coming for you, Brianna. And then he says that what he's going to do is he knows somewhere that he can get gemstones so they can get back through the stones. So he is going to go get gemstones. So he goes looking for Stephen Bonnet, but he doesn't end up sailing up to Philadelphia or some shit.
Doesn't get screwed like that.
He just goes to look for Stephen Bonnet.
Gross.
So this is in a way. Oh no, I'm skipping. Sorry. Go ahead. Sure.
So then, I mean, you can tell, like, adaptation-wise, where that's
because
headed,
adaptation time. This is them
He
saying
still gets a
Stone Cold
gemstone.
is an asshole, a bigger asshole.
Yes.
If we haven't established him as a rapist,
Well, I will say it makes more sense that Roger, because in the he's forced. He bails on his sailing contract thing and then just like somehow steals the gemstones from Stephen Bonnet, as opposed to like just is forced back on the boat, and that is the reason he's not around. And it also makes sense that Brianna would think he was going back to Scotland and not just going to Philadelphia. There's a whole thing in the book where Jamie has a bunch of people looking for for Roger Wakefield, but Roger has started going by Mackenzie, so they don't find him because they're asking by the wrong name, and a whole bunch of shit. As opposed to Brianna thinks he's in Scotland, so no one is looking for him. So when a dude
I got
shows
some
up,
shit to say about that later.
we'll talk about it. But I will say it's actually way more plausible the way that the show is doing it. But they cut out the name bullshit.
yeah, that makes sense.
So Roger has to go back to Philly on this boat with this douchebag Stephen Bonnet. Damn, we're all pissed.
And all his shitty lackeys.
And it's gross.
Just
And
a bar
they're just
full of
assholes,
lackeys.
fucking toxic masculinity all over the
Boot
place.
setting assholes.
Just assholes. And then it's back to Lizzie and Bree, and Bree is in the bed, and Lizzie has let her sleep past noon, and I'm like, that's my favorite lady maid. I'm never getting up before noon if I don't have to. I'm sorry. That's a horrible joke about
Lizzie does
like
try to get her
living
to
through
go back to
rape
sleep.
or whatever, but seriously, I just sleep through noon. And Lizzie has washed all of Brianna's clothes in that time. And I want you all to know, and I'm sure you do, our listeners, that was not a mean feat.
No.
That takes some time and some effort and some love. And then Bree gets up and is like, I don't need those! And then she has clothes in her trunk that are her mother's dresses from Lollybrook. So, Lizzie, thanks. No thanks.
Hold on.
She spent all that time doing that shit, and it never got used again. I'm never going to wear them again, which we understand why. Mm-hmm. But Lizzie's like, oh, okay.
Thanks, mistress.
In Lizzie's defense, she doesn't seem to care.
She's
It
like,
sounds
fuck
like she
off.
just wanted something to do. And she did get something to do because she got a bunch of really helpful Scotch goss.
Yeah, she did
She
get some
did.
Scotch goss. That's coming up. That's coming
Some
up.
solid Scotch goss.
And
Oh, if I go to my
Brianna puts on her mother's dress from Lollybrock, which she got in the trunk from Daddy.
solid knitwear.
We miss you, salty Daddy. And she walks out with her sick ass shrug.
Sick!
And she walks out into the street of Wilmington trying to find Roger. But the boat is gone.
Because the barman is like, oh yeah, your hot man was here. He sailed away on the Gloriana. Brianna's like, what? What? No!
And then she runs out to the pier to try and find him. He's gone. And then how does she find out about Jamie? She turns around to some dude.
Lizzie.
Oh, that's
Lizzie.
right. Lizzie shows up
'Cause
and
Lizzie
is like,
turned it around
hey,
some dude.
With the Scotch goss.
I got some fucking Scotch goss last night.
And then Brianna's like, wait, you're going to tell me about every Scottish person you ever heard of? And Lizzie's like,
No.
Yeah, I am, except for first.
There was a play last night where a guy got operated on by a woman. She cut into him. And Brianna's like, Mom. And then she's like, they're here. The Frasers are here in Wilmington. And Brianna's like, whoa.
And a dude told me that your dad was like 2 blocks that way. And Brianna just books away. And Lizzie just malaria-filled books after her slowly.
Slow. Ugh, yellowy.
Quinine, give me some quinine. Right? Lizzie's malaria is an ongoing plot point. I'm not sure how much we're going to get of it in the show.
But then,
I mean,
fucking...
I'm going to need the
Brianna?
two of you to talk about football statistics or something because I have to pee and I'm not missing the discussion of this scene.
Okay.
how about this?
Yakety sax?
Yep. Boom.
All right. I don't even remember where we are, you guys.
So we're
We
at
were about to talk about the scene.
the scene.
Oh,
Pissing behind the... Smoking in the boys' room. I don't know why that's what came
so
to me.
she shows up and somebody tells her, oh, he's out back. Yeah. Oh, at the bar, right. He's out back. And she's like, oh my God, there's my dad. And then she goes out there and he's fucking whizzing.
And also, I know you were not watching the season of All Stars, but he is wearing what I can only describe as most recent episode of All Stars Naomi Smalls boots. There are a lot of buckles. They're very Valentino 1993.
So he's taking a whiz, and then all of a sudden she's up behind him, and he can feel somebody behind him, and he's like, oh, what do you want?
Sweaking peaks. And then he's like, what do you want, lass?
And she's like, I want you. Ew. First of all, that's weird. And then he's like, shake it off.
Merit. I'm married.
I'm married. And then he turns around.
Marrit.
And then she throws a hand up on his broad ass shoulders. He walked past her, and she's like, I'm your daughter?
No. She puts her hand on his chest as he walks by, and he kind of turns and is like, what? She goes, are you Jamie Fraser? And he says, who's asking? Or some shit. And he says, my name is Brianna. I'm your daughter. And then the Sam Huon act apocalypse begins. Ooh, Lord. He is so good.
It is truly the most beautiful moment that this man has afforded us in his entire 3 years of acting on this show.
And that includes all the stuff with his shirt off.
I am including every sex scene. I am including all the shit he went through, his own personal man-on-man rape. I am including everything.
Tender.
It's so beautiful.
It's very
his
good.
His face
I'm
goes
getting
through.
a little verklempt.
I know. Just thinking about it. His face goes through what I am going to start referring to
Okay,
as
Janine?
I
the
just took too
Tobias
much
Menzies scale.
Whiskey on that one.
From top to bottom.
The scalesies.
The scalesies. He goes from normal recognition of things, just like I'm a normal person, here's what I see, to everything in my being that has led me to this point and all the feelings I have about how this particular instance affects those points of my being up until this point in one breath.
Yeah.
Right? And that is really good acting.
It's
TM.
It's, you see,
Everything in one breath.
yeah, it's the reaction is so honest and so underplayed.
Right.
The way that people react in situations like that. You know, like there are and Jamie Fraser would not be option B, but there are two ways of reacting to a stranger from the future showing up while you're taking a whiz to say, I'm your daughter. The one is to go, what?
Get out of my face.
And the other is to just go, oh my God, my whole life is different. You can watch his whole life change on his face without him saying anything or doing anything particularly extravagant. It's like Frank in the delivery room with Claire, feeling his whole life change when he looks at that baby. Like, it's like that, which is a very similar moment in a sense.
Yes.
I don't have kids, so I don't know what it's like when you look at your kid for the first time. But both of those men, what the story they told me just through their acting, without even moving their fucking face very much,
Just a tiny bit.
was, wow, my whole life is different.
You know, I gotta say,
Instantly, my whole life is different, and it's beautiful, and it's both of them amazing. And thank God nobody came up. No nurse came. How'd she get the red hair? Nurse didn't come in and go, oh, how'd she get the American accent?
Yeah,
right? Like,
no, thank
instead,
God.
he just gets to enjoy seeing his child on the heels of having to spend, a couple of days pretending like he's not related to his other child. He just gets to like embrace her and acknowledge her, and God, it was beautiful.
I gotta say, for my own personal relation to this, like my sister has 3 children, and it's on. My sister has 3 children, and we had a bit of an estranged relationship prior to her first child. And seeing my sister and her husband for the first time after we had kind of reconciled, and then seeing her child, and hearing you talk about this and describing this to Jamie's experience, I'm like, oh my God, that's actually how I felt about seeing Willa, right? Like suddenly this whole motion of like, this is now beyond whatever my experience is. My experience is beyond this thing. This is a human being that is now connected to whatever my experience is or my feelings of this. That's fucking... Sorry, during all of that, I was having that moment.
It was really... and on like a separate level, it made me very proud of him in a way that makes no sense because we don't know each other, and my personal appraisal of his performance means nothing to him, but I felt really proud.
Yeah.
I felt proud for Sam Heughan for sure, because to be frank, and that's shady and on point, I think that it has been pretty clear through the time that I have been watching this show that I have believed that Sam Heughan was chosen and cast because of what he looked like, because it was a very hard bar to clear.
Totally.
And he had a long time to catch up to that bar because he was always just going to look exactly correct.
And he was never bad.
No, he was never bad.
But he wasn't on the level of some of the people
But
he was
he
acting
wasn't Tobias Menzies.
with. I mean, he was not that long out of fucking acting school. You know what I mean?
And
He's not particularly old.
He was cast because he looked like the king of men, quote unquote.
And also he could act, right? Like, I'm sure they looked at a bunch of very handsome dudes who couldn't
Right.
act. And a bunch of very good actors who didn't look like that.
Yeah. I'm going to say that at the beginning, it wasn't as important.
Oh, sure it was. Oh, Julie.
No, it was important in the
I
scale.
watch a lot of bad TV, and there are a lot of very good-looking people cast in things who can't act their way out of the bag.
No. I'm not going to say that he was that bad. I am going to say that, like, relatively speaking, against the other actors that he was acting against, he was always kind of like trying to catch up. But there was always like a handicap because of what he looked like that would, like, forgive it. Listeners, I am telling you now, the moment that he had with Sophie Skelton has erased that handicap.
Totally.
To me, he is now one of the best actors on the show.
Yeah, he's even with Katrina for sure.
Yeah.
And that moment, he showed me he could do it.
More than once this episode.
Right. There have been
Yeah.
times when he was supposed to do it where he was very, very close.
I think he's done it a couple of times.
Not like this.
He's been my this is special.
Yeah.
He's been my TGP a couple of times.
But he was never as good as Tobias.
Sure.
But I'm saying I'm looking forward to what comes next.
Me too.
Because he has shown me that he can do it. He has truly shown me that he is a actor of caliber.
Can we make a note to return to future great Sam Heughan scenes in the Je suis spoiler?
Sure.
Is that
I'm going to say nothing's going to touch this one.
Oh.
No, there's so many good ones. But this one is really him like being a human.
But
like
the future
This
potential.
isn't the one I'm talking about. Is another if they do it.
Okay.
Is another Brianna
Oh, you
scene.
mean in the future?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, what we're saying, reader, listener, is
Thank God he did a great job.
very, very
so
good scene.
good.
It was beautiful. We all teared up. We were all very proud of our Sam. Great
And
job,
of Sophie,
buddy.
who
She did do it, and she won
did
me
a very
over.
good job, and she did a good enough job that I sort of forgot that she was acting. Because I'm less invested in Sophie Skelton, the actor, than I am in Sam Heughan, the actor. Because I've spent,
Yeah.
4 years thinking about Sam Heughan as an actor and how his performance has grown and changed. Whereas Sophie is a relatively new commodity to us in the scope of things. So I just kind of forgot that she was acting and she was just Brianna. Which is great.
That's great.
That's what you want. And she did, I think, a very nice job through the whole episode, despite getting a couple of scenes where, when she had to fucking watch a mama bird feeding some baby birds.
That's fucking
You know how I feel about this? Birds and bunnies. Get over it. God
Jesus Christ.
damn it.
I didn't like that at all.
Okay. Hold on.
Ida with an eye says that specifically with regard to wee Ian, says it looks like Daphne got a promotion.
Oh, that's really super funny.
Yep.
'Cause it
I mean, was
does.
that in the book or no?
I don't remember.
Because seriously, we
like-
made that up a long time
I'm
ago.
gonna Google it.
Yeah, she did feel because like when I was younger, they called me Ian.
And we're like, we did that already.
It's like,
Yes,
yeah, you mean 2 years ago when we fucking met you?
Yeah, 2 years ago when we called you wee Ian. So I do love the moment. We just broached it very briefly when she meets him, and then all of a sudden Claire shows up. By the way, that moment with Katrina is incredible.
Oh my god! Yeah.
And then it cuts to, so we died in a fire, which is hilarious and weird. But the
Amazing scene. She like can't actually fucking breathe. She's so shocked and excited to see her daughter. And then like they
Cut.
stare at each other and Jamie is
died
crying
in a
and Claire is
fire?
crying. Cut. We died in a fire.
But the best part of we died in a fire is not we died in a fire. It smudged. That's an unforgivable mistake with the printer. You know what? You know why that's hilarious? Because Jamie was a printer.
And he's like fucking
Shady.
judging that shit.
He's
Yeah.
like, fuck you, asshole.
I think it must be a book thing. I googled wee Ian and the Outlander wiki page for Ian Fraser Murray came up. So like clearly it must be.
I'm going to say that Wean is a different thing.
Yeah. Well, and they didn't say he was called Wean. They said he was called
Wee
Ian.
which is different than Wean because we.
But think of
still-
Scottish.
Here, Daphne got a promotion.
I'm just saying that here at Podlander Cast, I don't know if you know this, but we really appreciate a portmanteau. We're
do.
just trying to get it together, y'all. Wean. Oh, please don't die. Here's some water.
I have my own.
No, you don't.
And whiskey.
All right. So, Bree and Claire. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot about the riverboat.
Never
We're back
forget.
on the riverboat. And
No,
Allison had
Riverboat
this
comes
moment.
after Bree and Claire.
That no. Unforgivable mistake with the printer. Wean's a little nod at your cousin. That's when he's I forgot to say this. When he's introduced to Bree for the first time, he's got these big eyes, like, look at this hot ass bitch. And then Jamie's like, your cousin, and he goes, nod.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Okay. And there was this incredible moment of like, all right, I can't fuck that.
Can we make another note for the spoiler section?
I don't have a pen.
Somebody's got a pen.
I got a pen
Oh,
right
he's
here.
got one. He's finding it.
All
okay, right here.
So we're talking about future Jamie scene in the spoiler section. We're talking about your cousin
Your cousin spoiler.
Because-
/ Wizzy.
Because-
Wizzy, not Wizzy. Wizzy.
Because
Wizzy is the ship name for Wee Ian. And
because
Wizzy.
Jamie's because it was really actually funny the way Jamie delivered that line where he was like, "This is my daughter."
your cousin. And he goes,
Well, and then later when they say Murtaugh's like, the lad's done well for himself. He got 2 lassies. And Jamie's like, that's my daughter, bitch.
and Murtaugh's like, huh. Ooh. But hold up. They get on the riverboat. And it's the same riverboat with the same dude. And then Allison had a moment.
Julie was like, "Oh, I call foul.
I'm
no
like,
way."
the same fucking riverboat? Really?
And then I
This
said,
dude?
"It's like when you get on a bus and you have the same bus driver." And she was still hesitant. And
it's
then
like,
I
no,
said,
no.
And then I said, "It's Dr. Love."
And then I went, yes.
Dr. Love was
For anybody who lives outside of Chicago,
What is this?
you'll
Aaron.
know it when you hear it.
Yeah,
how long have you lived in Chicago?
8 years.
Okay, then you probably had Dr. Love
Oh,
as,
you did.
as a train driver at least one time.
Oh,
You were on the red line.
Oh yeah,
The red-
I know
yeah,
that train
exactly
over
what
there.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the brown line.
Oh,
That's the Cadillac.
yeah. Fuck
So
yeah.
there was this man who
shit.
just retired like maybe 2 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Maybe 3.
I think his name was Michael something. But regardless, if you rode transit in Chicago at the time when he was driving, and he drove for like 20 years.
Primarily the red line.
He would do things where he would like pull into a station and he'd be like, hey, we're here at Belmont. Belmont. Make a connection to the brown line or purple line at Belmont. Go make that money. Fullerton, make that money. Fullerton, make that money. Loyola, you do your homework. You drink that hot cocoa. You just keep it real. You do your thing.
Were you the one who was on the train when he dropped his wallet?
Yes. One day in the middle of the day, and this is weird because
Michael Powell.
Thank you, Michael Powell.
Retired in 2014.
I need everybody to know about Michael Powell, who worked for the CTA for how many years?
He retired on New Year's Eve.
This is
4 years
incredible.
ago.
This is incredible. Michael Powell, how many years?
I'm opening it up right now.
He
36 years.
Oh my God.
wow.
He worked for the CTA for 36
Take your vitamin
years.
C. Everything is going to be okay. And may the force be with you.
One day, I was riding the red line at off-peak hours. Like, it was like maybe 2 o'clock on like a weekday. I don't know. It just happened to be Dr. Love. I always knew when it was Dr. Love. And he had to stop at Wilson because he dropped his wallet out of his pocket when he leaned out of the window and it went down to the street level. And so we had to sit at Wilson for like 10 minutes while he like got off the train and went downstairs and like got his wallet. And then he came back and he's like, y'all, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for your patience. I just dropped my wallet. I had to go down there and get my wallet.
He was so nice. And you would get off the train and you would see
He
him
would always wave at you.
shaking hands with people.
Yeah.
He was just the best.
He
And
was
every
amazing.
time I ever had him, I would get off the train to wait for him to look at me and give him like a salute. Like, thank you, Dr. Love. So now we know that on this riverboat, that's Dr. Love.
That's Dr. Love.
Because Lizzie and Wian are
Fucking making
obviously going to
eyes.
be a
making
match.
eyes at each other.
I'm sorry. It's just we spoil it.
Just we spoil
We'll save it for
You
later.
just fucking destroyed both of us.
Whatever. It sure seems like they're courting. I'm sorry. They're courting.
Oh, thanks.
So they're making eyes at each other, and then we cut to inside the old ship, and Bree and Brian are talking about some shit, and inside Claire and Jamie are also talking about some shit.
I have Bree and Claire. Roger's headed to Scotland, and like she believes he's leaving for Scotland.
Yeah, we skipped some.
Yeah, okay.
Because Jamie and Claire are talking inside for a while. Well, Ian and Bree are sitting outside and talking, which is when Ian tells Brianna about the last time they were on this particular raft.
On the Dr. Love's
And
raft,
Steve Bonnet was an asshole.
Where it was Dr. not Love.
Well, it wasn't him.
Exactly.
It was the other people.
But the raft is called Dr. Love.
Right.
Yeah.
But how do we get to the point where she's like, he's leaving me and he's just going to Scotland?
That's just her.
It's along the way. It's all part of the commute. I'm so sorry I have the hiccups, guys.
No, that's okay.
That's just a heard of her talking about the process of she's recounting like what her experience with Roger was with her mother, but in recounting that, she doesn't acknowledge the other thing that happened fucking hours later on the same fucking evening where she got fucking horribly raped.
What I've got is same riverboat. He's Dr. Love, Bree and Claire. He's headed to Scotland, and then you don't know that.
Yeah, she doesn't. Well,
and that's my life lesson: is don't try to predict things you don't know.
Yeah, well, it's not predicting. She assumes. She assumes
because that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
As I'm older, as I try to grow into my life, I realize that when I try to predict the way that things are going to happen, they never happen the way that I try to predict them. So you don't know what has actually happened to him. You don't know where he is.
Yeah.
Why would you try to predict that? And then Wien and Bree, bad green screen, stone cold is on the shit list.
I have hiccups now too.
All right. Do you need a minute?
No, I'm good. Keep
Anyway,
going.
so Brianna basically is like, oh, well, now I'm definitely not telling my mom who raped me because I'm not going to make her and Jamie feel fucking
I know it's
terrible. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't show her their ring, which becomes really important.
Mm-hmm. And then we flash to Jamie and Claire on horses behind the wagon on their way to Fraser's Ridge. And they're just having a married couple conversation.
Yeah, and Jamie's like, oh, so that distressing news that Brianna brought us. And Claire's like, yes, that was most unsettling, which is the third most British thing she said on the show. The first most British thing she said on the show was, I closed my eyes and thought of England. And the second most British thing she said on the show, she hasn't said yet. So it's later this episode.
But then he does say some shady shit to her, which is, you haven't had much luck changing history so far.
Which
we haven't had much luck.
Sure, we, but mostly her.
Well,
I
no,
mean,
'cause they tried
she's
to-
like the time traveler,
No,
though.
they tried to do the BPD thing together. That was all of season 2.
Right.
He was basically saying, remember season
He's
2?
the only one that can travel in time.
Well, but
Sure,
but they're
but-
both time travelers.
But also, because she's a woman, he's the one doing most of the history changing.
Right.
Because he's trying to do the things that she says, like, hey, there's this and this and this. So, to me, that was Jamie saying, hey, remember season 2? And Claire said, yeah, I remember season 2. Let's hope we don't die in a fire.
Yeah, we can take an holiday.
And holiday.
On those days before and something in January, whatever it is, because of the unforgivable error by the printer.
Printer. They know the date, but not the year.
Here's what happens right now. Pamplemousse comes out of the cabin.
Yeah.
Fucking silver fox.
And then I have in the books question, do they know the year?
Yeah, I think they do.
In the books, they know the year.
I think they do. I'm going to check that. No, you know what? I'm not going to be able to check that right now. I'm going to check that before next week. I'm pretty sure they know the year in the books. Because there's a whole day that everybody in Fraser's Ridge sleeps in the fucking
Shelter.
yeah, instead, which is actually so in the book it's confusing because in the books it's the cabin in the house, And here it seems to be the cabin and the shelter. Right? So like the house is the big house and the cabin is the shelter. And here it's like the cabin is the house and the shelter is the cabin. It's very confusing. This is actually more realistic. It's more realistic that they could build a cabin than a house.
Yes.
So this is more, as unrealistic as it might seem to you, it is actually more realistic than what happens in the books. Although I think that it might be like a couple of years before Bree shows up in the books.
Ew.
Yeah.
So right now it's dinners at Fraser's Ridge.
Oh, it's cozy.
And they're all
super
hanging
cozy.
out, and Murtaugh's
Murtaugh
there.
says some nice shit where he's like, Lassie, took you long enough.
Yeah, they're very
love
sweet.
that
Maxon's
guy.
bad.
God damn it.
Yeah, Janine hadn't seen Silver Fox Pamplemousse.
He fucking walks out of the goddamn house and
Platinum
just
Mousse.
Platinum Mousse. He is fucking Platinum Mousse. We need to can we just accept that now he's Platinum Mousse?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, we already talked about
Okay,
this.
great. I'm late to the party.
Yeah.
Fucking Platinum Mousse
Oh,
just walks
fucking
out of that
hammered.
fucking cabin, just like going, "What's going on? I'm not a fugitive anymore," or someone thought I was gonna.
He's
be-
still a fugitive.
well, but there's no spies in his team. Is essentially what they're talking
Well,
about.
I assume they killed the fucking spy on their team.
Yeah.
I would only hope so.
Oops.
That piece is over.
Snitches get stitches.
Fucking snitches get fucking dirks. And so now he's like all fucking like just wonderful goddamn pamplemousse.
He's there.
I want to be him.
And then it's dinner time. And first of all, y'all, you should send hair care tips to Janine so that he can get his hair to be like Murtaugh's hair because it's real close. He just has to let it grow out.
Yeah, so I just have to let it grow. Let it
Let
grow.
it grow.
You can find me at Instagram at Pagelman34.
So they're at dinner, family dinner at Fraser's Ridge. And it's Murtaugh's story time. And Murtaugh starts telling a story about when Jamie was a teenager. And there was something about girls,
Kissing
fucking
him.
Gil's girls. What was his name?
Dugan.
Dougal's
Tabitha,
daughters.
maybe, because he calls her Tib. Anyway, Jamie's like, oh, she was not the first person I kissed. She was the first person who kissed me.
And it's this whole thing where Jamie's like trying to.
Basically, it's Murtaughh telling embarrassing childhood stories, but what actually matters is that Jamie goes to pour whiskey, and he pours 2 glasses and gives them to his wife and daughter and not to himself. King of men.
Like, he literally stands up to go pour whiskey, pulls out all the cups, and then gives the 2 first pours to the 2 bitches in the room. So, thanks, King of Men. And then, what's this thing that I have that says Bree and Claire, Daddy knew? Oh, shit. This is the next day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is when Bree and Claire are digging through the ramps. And Bree says to Claire, Daddy knew that you went back.
Yeah, so Brianna tells Claire that Frank knew that she went back to Jamie. And Katrina, also very good at her job, goes through like 7 different emotions before she opens her mouth, where she's pissed and she's sad and she feels guilty, but also like happy and kind of loved and like a zillion things at once, where she says, your father was a very adept man.
Yes, a very adept man.
And it's awkward.
That's it.
Is that before or after Jamie and Bree have their
Before.
Jamie
Before.
and the disturbance?
Yeah.
Before.
Okay.
So,
Speaking of Brie, I want some more Brie.
Get some more Brie.
by the way, you guys, I want you to know that we have Brie cheese on the table because it's a disturbance.
It is a disturbance.
How this evening will we talk about what we've drank?
Oh, let's do
my
it now.
God. So, well, you guys
Real
watch
quick.
what we drank live.
Well,
Not all
11
of them.
people watch what we drank live.
So at the
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Allison should tell
Oh, yeah,
everybody
yeah, yeah.
else
So,
what we drank.
Yeah,
I
live.
accidentally got everybody wasted because it didn't actually taste that much like alcohol, and I wasn't using a jigger, so I didn't know how much I actually poured. But we were drinking bourbon, Rebel Yell bourbon, with Canada Dry cranberry ginger ale, which was my favorite thing when I was a kid, which I thought they discontinued, and it turns out they didn't, and I only discovered it this year. and Koval's cranberry gin liqueur.
A Chicago.
Which I could taste that it was gin.
But you liked it anyway.
But it wasn't enough to piss me off.
Good.
Yes.
So we drank a couple of those and it was delish. And now we are drinking
Straight whiskey.
Bibb and Tucker bourbon. It's a small batch Kentucky bourbon whiskey in a beautiful bottle commissioned by the distillery. I know because I sell this shit at the store.
So we went from we don't know how drunk we're getting to fuck it.
Exactly.
Welcome, Outlander.
So, and then all of a sudden I'm like, Bree and Claire, Daddy knew. And then Claire has the moment of, he was a very astute man. And then back on the boat?
Back on the boat.
Yeah, no, back on the boat. So this was when Roger had to go back on the boat.
Oh yeah, Roger's boat. Yeah.
Right, and we just see the boat and then he's gone?
And he gets the gems.
Right. So he goes in to get his pay. He's done his shit. He's in Philly.
He's like, fuck this. Why did I have to fucking go here?
Fuck this. I'm done. And he goes in to get his pay, but then like Stephen Bonnet's trying to give
Somebody
him this.
give me a steak with whiz.
Right. Trying to give him these coins, and he's like, wait, can I take one of those gemstones or two? And we're all like, time traveler. And Stephen Bonnet kind of gives him a little weird Scarface look where he's like, beep. Yeah, fine.
It's like, you want some of my little friends?
Yeah, you want a little friend? Here you go. And then he takes one and leaves. Great. And then all of a sudden, we cut back to the good old days, laundry day. Claire is washing Jamie's chonies on some sort of like fucking scrapey thing. And it's like, God damn it, women always had to touch shit.
This is what Julie said, like into the deafening silence as we're watching Frontier Barbie scrape some underwear clean. Julie goes, the good old days.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't want to scrape your chonies.
You know what's nice to know about that, though? That laundry day sucks for everyone, no matter what century it is.
You know what? It sucked way more for women.
Fair.
Yeah. Just going to say that the entire day of Monday was dedicated to them scrubbing everybody's underwear out.
That fucking horrible.
Yeah, Monday, laundry day. That's why it's a thing. It's because women had to take everybody's fucking chonies and scrub their shit out of it on a rock.
And this was like the...
Rock!
And the chonies are the shirts that went down.
No, chonies are just underwear.
Oh,
just whatever touches dookie.
Well, that could be those shirts that went...
Chonies, underwear, whatever.
I'm trying to make a Keenan reference.
I'm saying chonies, yes.
Right.
But like modern times, chonies are like fucking underwear.
Boxers.
Whatever. Yeah. Boxers, briefs, whatever. Chonies.
Boxer.
We are rubbing them on rocks in the river, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, the good old days sucked.
I agree with all that.
So I'm saying back to laundry day. And then, it's montage of time.
Montage of time.
Gotta get a montage. This is when daddy and daughter get to know each other and they get to do things and there's no white time and they do things through time.
Where is the white South? I want Clarence in the White South. It's the name of my progressive rock band. Clarence in the White South. In the White South.
Thanks for through time. Okay. And then we cut to Claire and Jamie fireside chat. And it's one of the first times where he's like,
Chat, not thwap.
Chat. He's like, she's heartbroken. And Claire's like, yeah, we just got to give it time.
And then they don't fuck.
Nope. And also, why was this episode tagged with sexual content?
I mean,
It was adult content.
There was no sexual
strong
Well,
sexual content.
Strong sexual content was
I
the
saw
first
that.
tag. He saw
I
it.
saw that.
Well, I mean, is it maybe because they talked about her rape and you saw her side boob and then her whole back with all of her bruises and shit on
I
it?
would just say all of that is true because all
Okay,
of that was
fine.
fucking horrifying.
Fine, but that's not what I expect when this show gives me a strong sexual
I want
content.
some. Hold on. What's the sound of me putting two index fingers into a hole in
Like
my
this.
hand? That's what I
Just
expect.
like that's what you expect.
So in the fireside chat, that's not a fireside thwap. Claire says,
Why don't you
"Perhaps
take her
should go
hunting?"
hunting. And then I said, because that worked really well for the last time you needed to hang out with a kid who at least temporarily didn't know they were your kid, and in that case still doesn't know they're your kid. Just make sure that Brianna doesn't grab a fish out of the river on the wrong side of the marquee trees.
Watch out.
She doesn't. Instead, they go bee hunting.
Bees. They go hunting for bees. But you know what does happen?
Bonding.
He goes to wake her up at like fucking 3:30 in the morning. And for those of you who don't live in hunting culture lands, I don't know how to explain this to you except that dads do that shit. And I'm going to tell you just a brief, tiny story about my two half-brothers that I have to hunt with my father. So I didn't meet my actual birth father until I was 35 years old. Yes, it's weird, but whatever, it's cool. He's cool. He's cool. And I have two half-brothers, one of which is like 8 years younger than me, and the other of which is like 12 years younger than me. But they cool. And I met them. They cool. They all like to deer hunt. Here's what happens. My dad goes to wake up both brothers, and this has happened for years. And the older brother will wake up and go with him to the deer stand at like 4 o'clock in the morning. The younger brother is like, no! And he goes back to sleep. Now hold on. So my dad and my older half brother are out in the deer stand for like 3 fucking hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, not seeing shit. My younger half brother will wake up like 4 hours later and just like shake it off, stand up, put on an orange vest, no shoes, and go out into the woods and kill a buck immediately.
No shoes.
No shoes. So he has killed like 3 more bucks than my dad and my older half brother.
Wait.
Because he doesn't do the fucking deer stand thing. He just goes out into the woods with no shoes on and kills a deer.
Wait, so I have to process this for half a second.
Yeah.
So that is you've described a routine as in, hey, older son, wake up. Younger son, go
he tries
away.
he tries to wake him up. No, he tries to wake the younger son up.
No.
And the younger son is like, fuck you, bitch.
So this is a routine where the younger son goes, fuck you, bitch. And then older son and dad go out. And again, routine. Older son and dad.
They've gotten bucks too.
Sure.
But nothing like...
But nothing where like the kid goes, younger son goes, oh, now's about time to go kill a buck.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, shot.
Kill.
Buck. Fuck you.
Exactly. Because they are far too prepared for it and far too weird about it. And my younger half brother is like, whatever. As long as I don't wear shoes, they won't hear me coming.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Also, does he have all his toes?
Yes. And can do a backflip from the ground. He was a cheerleader in high school.
I feel like I've seen that YouTube.
Like it's
Her
my
brother
family
might
is
be a superhero.
my family's weird. I'm just gonna say my family's weird.
So where are we at in the in this whole thing?
We're getting
Okay,
there.
hunting. So hunting. They go to hunt, and I wanted to talk about how different people hunt. Because everybody's got a dad that comes to wake them up in hunting cultures at like 4 a.m. Wake up.
Everybody getting hunting.
Just
Everybody getting hunting.
We going hunting.
Julie.
Everybody getting hunting.
It was
Some
just for
clause,
you.
I got it. And so
what I know, my personal story is the way my dad did it was, Aaron, mow the lawn. It's fucking 7 a.m. Get the fuck up and mow the lawn. I'm like, Dad, what the fuck? It's 7 a.m. Why they gotta fucking mow the lawn? Your neighbors hate us. That was the end of the story.
Here's mine.
No.
Allison, go back to sleep. I don't care if you're leaving. You can drive yourself to your fucking choir meet. Go back to sleep. That was mine.
No, mine was always about get up and go hunting or don't. So this was him coming to wake her up like, hey, wake up. Wake up. We're going to go hunting.
And she's smiling in her sleep.
And she's like, oh, it's smiling in my sleep. Oh, what woman smiles in her fucking sleep?
Well, I will say this. That's not about this woman smiling in her sleep. It's a family trait they have discussed both in the show and in the books that the Frasers fucking smile in their sleep when they're happy about shit.
How was she happy about shit, though?
She's with her mom and her dad.
But she had just been brutally raped.
When was this? When was this?
This is months later, presumably.
No, weeks.
2 months. 2 months, because she's 2 months along when they have that conversation, like right after.
I think they
2
say
months later.
Days or weeks. I think they
Montage.
say
She says,
weeks.
Montage.
how far along are you?
Montage.
2 months.
The montage is the 2 months
Yeah.
process.
Regardless, life is a something in series of
No, bullshit. Bullshit. I call bullshit.
Life finds a way.
Shut up, Goldblum.
No, I don't have a problem with that. I think she's not happy, but she might have been having a nice dream. She's with her mom and her dad.
Maybe I'm
in a
just
beautiful,
jealous.
And here's my thing. People, they keep saying, and this is the thing I wanted to bring up. They keep saying throughout the episode, well, she has to go back to her time because she's so much safer and better there. But here is the thing. Here's the
She
thing
really is,
about
though.
that. I mean, she is, but also, I can see a world in which if it were me and I didn't want to have kids, which I don't, then I could be like, yeah, I'll stay in these backwoods. Mom, you're going to help me figure out how to not get pregnant and or have some kind of herbal abortion if I do. Great. Sounds good. That's all I want. I just want to be in these crazy backwoods with y'all. I'm going to make some soup. I'm going to read some books. I'm going to learn to claquette. I'm going to stir this whiskey in this giant barrel.
No, even still,
I
it would be better for a woman in the 60s.
Oh, totally. I
Where
would
the 60s
probably still go back in time, but
Still stay with my family
in this-
because they are so great. I
Yes.
love my mom.
No.
Potentially my dog, but I don't know. He wants to love me so, but I don't know. I just want to stay here with my family.
No. No.
that okay?
Y'all,
That was okay.
there's a lot of
bullshit.
slant rhyme.
I'm sorry, bullshit. And
That's how I
Allison
live.
hates slant rhyme.
This is not Brianna. This is me talking. What I'm saying is, as a reader of the books, every once in a while I would think, girl, she doesn't have any other extended family, and she didn't seem to like school very much. And her mom's there, and her dad she never knew is there, and she can travel in time, and they're in the most beautiful fucking place in the world. Maybe
Phrases.
rich. Maybe at least temporarily, she might think, I could just chill for a while.
Also, let's think about the things she doesn't have. Like, her daddy is dead in the current times.
Frank is dead.
Frank is dead. And Roger is potentially
Roger.
in the time in which she would travel back to, which he is at this point, as we have acknowledged, is maybe not the best decision or assumption she's made, but is not something she wants to go back to. So why would she go back to that time? So, like, in her mind,
I mean, the answer is obviously birth control and hot baths, but like,
Thank
which
you.
all of these we can support.
Yes.
Yes.
but I do think there would be a certain amount of temptation to
Yeah.
stay in this idyllic place with these people who love you very far, especially on the heels of a super bad breakup and then another very traumatic experience. To stay in this very isolated place with like 6 people and you know all of them and they love you.
And to also know that you are pregnant.
Well, so here's another thing, and this isn't really spoilers because this is a question that anybody should be asking themselves. And for reasons I won't go into, like, we still don't really have an answer. But can you travel in time when you're knocked up?
Oh.
How many people is that going through the stones?
How many gemstones?
Fucking Claire's already done it.
That's true.
Oh.
But we also don't know how many gemstones Claire had on her at the time.
We don't?
I don't. Do you?
No, I didn't read the books.
I don't think it said in the books. But she was like bringing stuff. She had
But
Jamie's
if it's
dad's
inside
ring.
of you, like if that's a parasite inside of you, does it not come with you?
Well, presumably, but if you need a gemstone to pass, do you need 2 gemstones? Also, what if it's a troubled pregnancy? That's a traumatic experience.
Did she need? She didn't have 2 gemstones when she went through with Brianna.
Well, she had, at least in the show, she had Jamie's dad's ring, and I don't know how many gemstones were in that. And then she was in the hospital for a long ass time.
Yeah, because that actually was a very hard
I remember
experience.
that.
Yeah.
You bastard! When the guy put her to Twilight. Fuck those assholes.
Yeah. So, point being, we're going long, guys.
We're
gonna move along.
going real long, you guys.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not advocating for Brianna staying in the past indefinitely. What I'm saying
She
is
can't.
I can see the appeal. It's like how every once in a while bad shit happens to me and I want to just go like Airbnb a cabin in the woods in Vermont that doesn't have internet or phone and just like stay there and like not tell anyone I'm leaving and just be gone for like 3 weeks.
I can
Yes.
see a world
And
of...
that's when bad shit happens, right?
Right.
And as you said while we were live streaming, that's the worst 24 hours any white person has ever had. And I'm sure that's not true, but it's not actually
pretty
that
bad.
far off.
It's
bad as you
pretty
lose
bad.
your virginity while realizing that maybe it's going to be harder for you to get back through time simultaneously. Then you
And
find
not
out the
only-
dude you just hand married didn't tell you that your parents were going to die and that's why he's here. So then you tell him to get out and then he goes, which hat tip to Richard Rankin, by the way, who said on the internet, someone was like, why did he just leave? And he was like, because she told him to. So he did what she said, which is what you're supposed to do, which is good. That's good. Thank you very much, Rick Rankin. I like your wig. Anyway, it's a good wig. No, I'm serious. I like that wig. You don't? I like it. I think it's the Pamplemousse collection, where it's like
I don't know. All I'm thinking about with him is his chest. I'm thinking about his fucking furry ass man chest.
Free ass man chest.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
I do. His
So. Point being, well, we'll just move on. We'll continue discussion about whether or not Brianna should travel back through time later.
our timer is dead.
Oh yikes!
Whatever.
So
It died at 1 hour and 25
eventually,
minutes.
Claire is like, girl, you know you can. Oh, so first of all, Jamie and Bree go bee hunting, and Jamie, they have a heart to heart about Frank and about all kinds of shit, and she tells him that she knows what Bree means, which is it means a disturbance, and he says, well, it's a good disturbance, and she says, what should I call you? And he says, duh. He's just simple. And then we all went, oh, it's so good. And then not long after that, Claire's like, you know, you can talk to me, right? And Bree's like, yeah, sure, I know I can talk to you. And then she says, I wish you could just read my mind. And Claire goes, okay, give me a second.
Yeah, and let me touch you like your mother. Just put my hands in your hand.
We did.
How far along are you?
How far along are you pregnant? And Bree's like, yes, I am pregnant.
I think some of that might be that maybe she noticed that Brianna's been there for 2 months and never was like, how should I deal with my period when I didn't put tampons in my bum roll?
Or maybe Bree's like every morning waking up and running outside and going,
yeah, totally. Something like that. So anyway,
So,
and Bree's
Claire's
like, 2
not really
months,
a
and
mind
also,
reader.
Maybe it's not Roger's baby. And then they cry a lot. It's a very good scene.
they were very good together.
Such a good scene.
And Claire, she goes, why didn't I fight him? Why didn't I fight him? Why didn't I fight him?
I think that's the part that really fucked me up hard. Like, just that.
And
I don't
Claire
know.
says
Never
it's
her
not your
fault.
fault.
Yeah.
And then Claire tells Jamie, and he is immediately very upset, understandably. As any
For, like,
father would be, but
40 reasons, though,
for
like,
heightened
levels.
reasons, because he knows exactly what it means, right?
Yeah.
So then we see Lizzie and Wien going on a little hike in the woods, and that's some real bad news.
And then all of a sudden, Roger shows up because he's already made his thing now because of the montage that we went through. It's been weeks, right? So Roger's already done his time on Stone Cold Stephen Bonnet's boat. and he's got his little gemstone, and he's coming through the woods, and then all of a sudden, because we knew it was going to happen, Lizzie thinks that Roger is the asshole that raped Sophie.
For reasons that make
Bree, sorry.
perfect sense. But also, and I will say, the show does a better job of selling that than the book does. For real. There's this whole Roger Wakefield versus Roger Mackenzie thing and like a search and this, that, and the other that makes it way more convoluted. This is pretty straightforward. Roger was rough with her in the pub because she was upset with him, which he shouldn't have been. Goes back to me saying Roger's kind of a dick sometimes. He was kind of a dick in this moment. Lizzie was worried about her mistress because, again, Lizzie's most recent experience with men is that a man was trying to sell her to other men to be part of his fucking concubine, right? So, like, she's not in the best of spirits. Then, finally, her mistress comes back limping and bleeding from the nose and then starts stripping off her clothes. And she's got blood on her back and she's got blood on her petticoats and all of this shit. So Lizzie sees this guy and is like, that dude...
Roger.
Fuck that dude. So she tells Ian.
He's in the woods on a horse trying to find Brianna. And Lizzie and Ian see her.
On their date.
Whatever this date is, are they going to the still? What are they doing?
They're going somewhere.
David.
I'm looking for a romp.
Just a romp.
Anyway, so then they rush back and find Jamie. And Ian, who doesn't know anything about the rape, is like, Lizzie saw a man who scared her, and he says it has something to do with Brianna, and Jamie is immediately like, I gotta kill this motherfucker.
Toxic masculinity. T-dubs, let's just take a pause. Last night, Neil made me watch Avengers
Infinity War?
Okay.
And I have to tell you guys that toxic masculinity was the reason why that movie ended the way that it did. Because why did Peter Quill do what he did when all of his friends told him,
Oh, totally.
just fucking calm down? Because if you just chill out, we can get this shit off of his arm right now. I'm just saying toxic masculinity
I'll see you that
is a problem.
I'll see you and raise you. Thanos just knows best for the entire universe.
Exactly. And Neil and I, we came back to that and I was like, first of all, why didn't Peter Quill just not do that shit? And Neil's like, yeah. And I was like, secondly, why does Thanos know why everything is best? You don't get to tell me.
You can reshape the universe in any way you want, and the way you decide to deal with the population problem is by just removing half of the universe from existence and not just making a better ecosystem.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Toxic.
Yeah.
Please tell me why your example is better
Please,
than my
Mr.
example.
Stark.
Please just show me. Fuck you, Tweety Daddy. Get up here. Tweety Daddy. Right here. Tweety Daddy. It's the same thing.
I don't know what's happening.
No.
Oh my
do
God.
I.
It's the thing from Saturday Night Live where they did the fucking dog show where they had
I don't know
Daddy
what you're talking about.
If you had a better example, maybe I could discuss this with you. It's that. It's
We're also
you're gonna have to look at the
Your
daddies.
husband and my boyfriend ordered Venom at 4:30 p.m. They're
Sorry.
watching Tom Hardy's Long Tongue annihilate New York City.
Sorry.
That's not a good movie. I've seen it. Tweety Daddy. Tweety at Daddy's. Happy for you? Tweety
No,
kissing
don't
Daddy?
look up at
All right,
daddies.
we gotta keep going, guys.
But I'm just saying, well, now this is going down a hole.
So Jamie beats the ever-loving shit out of sucker punches him.
Finds him,
And then
yeah.
I will say,
No, literally
in the
beats the shit out of
backs,
him.
In the backs, Roger gets a couple of good punches in to defend
No.
himself. Not here. He gets clocked, and then he's just down, and then he gets clocked some more while he's passed out, and then he gets thrown on a horse, and Jamie says, don't kill him because I don't want to make you a murderer to Wien, and off he goes. Because that's and also at the same time, Claire finds her ring on Brianna's bunk, basically.
And then
So
it's like,
Claire
what's
knows.
this?
So Claire knows who raped Brianna, but Brianna made her promise not to tell Jamie. So Jamie thinks that he just nuked Brianna's rapist. And Claire knows who Brianna's rapist is. And they're not
the same
talk about
person.
It's bad. And it's a very good episode, I think.
I thought it was quite good.
Yeah, I think it is good. I think it's makes some really smart adaptation choices. I think there's some very good acting.
Yes.
I think there's some really good costumes. I think I could have done without the green screen and without the screensaver shot.
Yeah.
Which I think, to their credit, I think they realized was shitty and they didn't spend a lot of time there.
The green screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, they didn't, like, they got that over with as fast as they fucking possibly could. They didn't linger.
So, I think it's time for scales.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to skip the doing it scale again, because, again, there was no doing it.
Why did they tell me that
I'm
was going to be
give
sexual doing it?
I'm going to give up. Maybe it's because the level of Lizzie's stare at Ian's neck.
Oh my God, it
was
was
at like an 8.
That was pretty
she
hot.
wanted to suck on that neck.
She wanted to, like, wrap that neck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I guess bonus points for Lizzie. Otherwise, a 0.
0. I can't even think of a movie.
Have you seen her, like, her headshot, BT Dubs?
No.
Show us.
Her headshot is fucking fierce. She has got a fierce goddamn fucking headshot. Where is this thing? Outlander? No, I want the fucking episode. Don't fucking toy with me.
I would give you, if you were asking me for a piece of entertainment that gave me
Similar feels. A stare of longing like that?
Care Bear stare.
It was a Care Bear stare. All right. So the next is the
This is it.
costume scale.
Yeah, she don't look like that in the show.
No, dude, but that's
It's a good
She
headshot.
looks like Lemmy.
it's like a fucking fierce.
So
This is a fierce headshot.
The costume scale.
That's swipe right.
The costume scale is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because you
I
had
like the reusing of Claire's costumes.
right. You
from
had
season
the
1.
whole thing where she was raped in a certain set of clothing and then didn't want to wear it again, and then had her mother's clothes that she wore.
Well, because she's been wearing her mom's clothes, right? So it was a new mom's dress.
Right, but it was very specifically like, I'm taking on this whole mom's thing.
Well, she was wearing her mom's dress before too. That's all of her clothes since she left. Larry's have been her mom's clothes because she's working out of that trunk. Except for the pants, not her mom's pants. Anyway, point being, wearing same dress worn in a new way, which I think is very cool.
Same dress, worn in a new way. Pretty in pink.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. We have empirical evidence for the next scale, which is the get up to get a beer scale.
Yeah.
Because,
No. I have to press pause.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to press pause because you want to enjoy it, so you get another drink.
Yeah.
Because there's also like you don't get another drink because it's so gripping that you can't bear to leave. But I actually think that this is like the next step. Because it's like, no, I'm going to need another one.
The curve went back the other direction, right? Where it's like too much intention. I can't fucking extend it. Oh my God. So much intention that I have to
Yeah,
stop
I'm
and get a
into
fucking
that.
drink.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
What's the
I
last
think
one?
that's going to do. Those are the scale. We skipped the doing it scale because there was no doing it.
Can we do the doing it scale?
I don't
did,
know
sort
what
of.
I don't know what the getting a beer scale would be though.
I mean, we sort of explain where it is. I don't know that
Basketball.
we need
No,
Basketball.
that's the worst.
To basketball to Star Wars: The Last Hope.
Fine.
Sure.
And that was the scale.
You guys, we started this episode too hammered.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to do a real quick je suis spoiler out, but just a quick one. Before we do that, we need to thank first of all, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/PodlanderCast. You can find us on Twitter at
Thank you.
PodlanderCast. You can find us on don't find us on Instagram. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/PodlanderDrunkcast, where you can sign up to have access to our amazing fucking Slack channel.
Our Slack channel is the
and
best.
that's not amazing because of us. That's amazing because of all of you. It's the best.
And just to kind of highlight how awesome all of you are, particularly Mary Coit, C-O-I-T. You've just given me awesome advice on how to grow my hair faster with prenatal vitamins. I appreciate that.
Ooh, shit, you gotta
Amazing.
take baby knees. Baby knees.
You can get access to our Slack channel, which is just the best because all of you are amazing and it's really fun and lovely. I'm at the moment looking forward to getting into the Drag Race Slack channel and talking about Drag Race. And you can get bonus episodes and you can get this, that, and the other thing. Anyway, Patty, you can also sign up to watch our live streams, which we are doing pretty much every week now. And the weeks when we watch the episode early, we will still live stream when we record and just do something else. This week we made a cocktail. Next week we might paint our toes. I don't know. It's going to be, who knows? Who fucking knows?
You don't want to
The
see my
world
toes.
is our
We'll
oyster.
find something, though.
We'll find something.
Yeah.
We want to thank all of our patrons, but especially, the window's not big enough. Hold on.
Holding on, vamp.
Amanda Newton, Ann Gavin, Ann Gibson, Beth Lott, Kara Marlowe, Katie Kirshner, Chantel Davis, Crystal Nanavati, Dr. J, Aaron Yutzi, Flourish Root, Friday Payton, Heather Moore, Ida with an I, Jenna Polkowski, Jen Lander, Drunklin, Catherine Marshall Eastman. Sorry, your name is too long for my computer screen. Kiki the Wise, Lori McGuire, Mary Lumpkin, Meredith Ottery, Molly Layton, Ruth McCormick, Chantel Salters, Tanner Cole, Tara Lucchino, Trish McCrary, Viv Pickles, and Kathleen Moniz. Hi, Mom. We will be back next week to talk about season 4, episode 10, whatever the fuck that might be. But right now we're going to real quick do a spoiler section, but like a super fast one. If you don't want to be spoiled, bye.
Bye.
Okay, what was the thing I wanted to talk about?
Are we going to give space? Stop listening. Stop listening.
Stop.
Oh. Here we go. Bye.
What were the things? I wanted to talk about a Jamie scene, and there was one other thing.
The only one that I have noted is your cousin spoiler.
Oh. Yeah, so, I mean, like, obviously Ian has eyes and he thinks Brianna's a fox because Brianna's a fox.
Yeah, do it.
But Ian becomes hesitantly on both his part and her part and basically everyone's part a love interest for Brianna at a certain point.
Oh, no.
Nothing actually happens. But there is like we'll see if they actually do it. If not, we'll talk about it more.
It's just an acknowledgement of the times to a certain extent.
No. We'll see it when we get there.
Right.
Also, the scene I'm really looking forward to with Jamie and Brianna is there is a Jamie scene where they basically talk about how to get past the unbelievable anger and helplessness you feel once you've been fucking violated by somebody. That is incredible. Like an incredible piece of writing that I think about frequently. And I'm really hoping that they do it and that it's as good for Sam as an actor as I think this episode indicates that he could be. Because it's a really great
Oh, my God. That's going to be fucking amazing.
thoughtful, restrained, really smart shit. So that's my hope.
He hasn't actually. I mean, everyone's in the show has, and through the storyline, from his personal relationships, have acknowledged that process. But I don't think they've spoken at length, or at least tried to.
I mean, they do a lot in season 2, but it's been a while.
And
It's been a while.
and to kind of elucidate that to someone who doesn't know that experience, right? That's a different type of context, I think.
Well, in this case, it would be to someone who does, right? Like he'd be talking to Brianna.
Oh, I guess I don't understand that she might recognize. She already knows that as well.
Well, she just
I mean, she knows it, but
Got
more
right.
importantly,
Knows his
it's-
experience.
Yeah, she does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Claire told the whole story.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Right. So when Jamie talks to Ian this season, Ian doesn't actually know what Jamie went through, and that's not an invention of the book, but him playing a little more active part in it is. I'm sorry, not an invention of the show, but Jamie being a little forthcoming about his experience is an invention of the show. If the scene with Brianna happens, I don't really want to give too much away, even in the spoiler section, but it's Brianna talking to him about how angry she is, specifically with herself, for not fighting back, and how he deals specifically with knowing that he probably could have stopped him and didn't.
Her moment.
Because in that case, like we know exactly why it is that he didn't, quote unquote, fight back, and it's because he said that he wouldn't so that Claire could live, right?
Yeah.
Like that is the plot point. And that's something that Brianna knows. So and that's not the same situation here, but she goes to him to ask like how it is that he deals with it. And it basically starts with him saying like, well, I'm not over it. I'll never be over it.
Yeah, fuck, man. I don't know how to communicate how her moment where she said the line, I didn't, like, she said it twice, maybe 3 times. I didn't fight him.
Why didn't I fight him? Why didn't I fight him?
And like the first moment was just a statement, and the second moment where she like really feels that to a deeper level. Holy fuck, man.
It's very good.
It's very haunting.
Also, everybody's so good looking. I just feel like we should end on a happy note.
So pretty.
All right. Happy New Year, y'all. We love you. We'll be back next week to talk about more crazy shit.
Happy 2019 when you get there.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.